Social media can be a black hole, especially for companies, but it doesn't have to be. We'll be diving into why you should use social media, what realistic goals there are for it, and how you can use it for long-term success for your business and be efficient with it. I know social media can sometimes feel like you're blowing glitter into the wind, but let's work together to figure out how we can use those opportunities to better your business and help your customers out. Welcome to the E-commerce Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Kiri Saunders. When we started this business, all I had was a couch, a laptop, and a 9-month-old. My main goal? To help others. Now, with over 20 years in the e-commerce building industry and even more than that in web development, I have seen a lot. I love breaking down the hard tech into easily understandable bits to help others be successful in their online business. Whether you're a seasoned e-commerce veteran or just starting out, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of e-commerce together. Welcome back to the episode of E-commerce Made Easy podcast with me, Kiri Saunders. We are diving into all things social media this week. So make sure you stay tuned to the end as well, because I'm going to give you some personal tips that I have found that really help with social media marketing. So first off, we need to talk about why should I use social media? It's possibly not for every business out there, but I generally feel like it is a good idea to be at least on one platform for every business. Some of the reasons are it increases traffic and conversions to your website. It also will establish your brand, especially on those social platforms. It creates an opportunity for customer engagement as well. It's a little bit hard to engage with customers sometimes when they're just ordering on your website or things like that. So it gives you a good way to actually have customer engagement with customers, especially if you sell products on your website. It also provides an avenue for social proof. It allows people to make positive comments about you and tout your products. It also creates an open dialogue with your customers. It just helps that happen a bit easier. Social is great for reaching outside of your current circle and keeping you in front of your customers as well. So you need to really be thinking about that too, as you're going to be reaching a bit broader audience than you might do with traditional marketing. Now, some social goals that we want to have are bringing people to your website. I'll give you some tips on that. Engaging with your customers, entertaining and educating. So those are several of the things that you can do when you're creating your social posts and really think about as you're creating those social posts is how can I engage with my customers with these posts, or how could I entertain them and make it relative to your business, or how can I educate them as well? And customers seem to find that they tend to like a variety of these ways to communicate with them on social. So don't make it all just educational too. Provide some entertainment or some engagement as well. Okay, so there's obviously a ton of social media platforms out there, especially nowadays. And we'll be going over some of the more well-known ones. We can't cover all of them in this podcast. So one of the questions we get asked a lot is, which social media platform should I use for my business? Now that's quite the loaded question, as I'm sure you can imagine, but the short answer is ideally the platforms that your customers are on. Now, if you're not quite sure what platforms they are on, you could also take the approach of, what social media platform am I most comfortable with? Which one do I use personally myself? And then you can start with that platform and then expand to other ones as well. You can also look at stats and demographics to see which social platforms your customers are on. So likely you know about what age range your customers are on, what gender, and where they might live and things like that. So you can also look at the social media stats for those. So you can do some research on this, but I'll be going over some general ideas for each of the social platforms. Okay, so next we're going to be going briefly over several social media platforms and why you might want to consider them. Now, please know I do not recommend being on all of these social media platforms, especially if you're just starting out with social media marketing. And we'll go into this a little bit more detail later, but I just want to say that up front, please don't feel like you need to do all the social platforms. It will become a black hole if you do that. Okay, so first off, Facebook. It is the most popular platform out there. Love it or hate it, it is one of the most popular. It is actually, when I did the research, the most popular platform out there. the good thing about Facebook is that it attracts a very broad range of consumers. So you're going to be able to hit quite the broad range of people on this platform. Facebook's also great because you can share content in many different ways. Some of those social platforms that we'll be going into later have only specific types of content you can share with them. With Facebook, you can share short text content, you can share long form content. As far as text goes, you can link to your website, you can share images, you can share image albums too. So if you sell products and services, you could even have albums of specific products to make it easier for consumers to really look through all the details of your products. You can also do long and short video with Facebook as well. So there's quite the variety of ways you can interact with your consumers on Facebook. This is probably why it makes it one of the most, well, really probably the most popular platform out there. Now, Twitter is another one, and this one's popular for the young to middle-aged adults. It's great for entertainment and new genres, so it's very popular for those as well. And it's great for sharing brand personality, company updates, and links to blog posts, honestly. A lot of people will create a little short text and then link to their blog posts on Twitter. So Twitter can be great for those little quick short updates and really getting your name out there. Okay, so Instagram is next. So even though it's owned by Facebook, it focuses more on visual content. So images and videos are what's allowed on it, with a little bit of text that can go with it. And this platform is most popular with Gen Z users. It also is great for interest-based content. So if you sell, say, a particular type of product, say you're a shoe company, lots of people will be searching on Instagram for different various shoes that they might like or things like that. Or if you're a service-based business, they might be looking for motivational people or things like that. So it's very niched into interest-based content. You can easily find relative things based upon your interests. Now, LinkedIn is also a social platform, as we all know. It's one that is a bit more businessy. So it might be a bit more appropriate if you're a business-to-business type of business. I don't think I could have fit the word business in there anymore there. This was also great for hiring new employees, for discovering other business opportunities with other companies, and great for promoting your own business. So LinkedIn can be a great collaboration tool as well. And then YouTube. The next two, actually, YouTube and Pinterest, are a bit special. Both of these are also considered search engines. It is a really great search engine tool. You can search for all kinds of things on both Pinterest and YouTube. Some people go to Pinterest or YouTube to do their searches anymore. It might be something you might not have known. It is one of the most popular places for people to visit on the internet is actually YouTube. It ranks way up there as one. I think it's the top 1 or 2 places to visit on the internet last time I looked. Now, mostly you're going to find gaming videos, music, and reviews. However, a lot of people are looking to YouTube to really see details behind products, or maybe they want to get more details behind you as your business and understand your services better. So it's great to show off your personality and really kind of stand out from the crowd. So YouTube is a great platform for that. Now, like I mentioned a little bit before, Pinterest is also great as a search engine as well. And it's a very visual search engine, as I'm sure you probably know. And it's great for visual brand promotion. So again, if you are one of those companies or brands that has a lot of visual things behind it, so you sell certain products or services or clothes, or that is very visual, Pinterest might be a good option for you. And as I mentioned earlier, you really don't want or need to be on all these platforms. If you're just starting out, I would recommend, like I said, picking 1 or 2 platforms you're most comfortable with and starting there. Start posting consistently. Now, for you, consistently could be once a week. It could be every other day. It could be every day. But pick a schedule and stick with it for a consistent amount of time, say a couple of months is what I'd recommend, and increase it as you feel like you have the bandwidth to increase it and have gotten used to that platform. And then I would consider later on adding another platform or two. But really, if you focus down to 2 or 3, maybe 4, if you really need that social reach, would probably be fine. Pick the ones you feel like are most appropriate to your business and also where you think your consumers are going to be. So, how can we be successful with social media marketing efforts? Because there are lots of companies out there that put a lot of effort into putting social posts out there and they don't really do anything for them. So first off, we need to be creating shareable content. Now, what do I mean by shareable content? Basically, if it's a shareable content, then it has either entertained, educated, or brought value somehow to the consumer, and they felt it was worthy to share with their family and friends. So, some ways to do that are to really just step back and think about what your customers' pain points are that you are solving. So say you're a shoe running company and you have the best running shoes out there. You're wanting to help people learn about your shoes and about how they will help prevent pain and help them run better and enjoy their workout more, or enjoy their workout that they're working on to run a marathon or things like that. So really think about what is really in your consumers' minds that they would relate to. And so you want to make sure your content's relevant and relatable. Those 2 words are a little bit hard to say together. And you can also consider posting content on social that's behind the scenes content. So this could be appropriate for some companies. Obviously, it may not be appropriate for all, but sometimes consumers really like to know what's going on behind the scenes. It helps them see your brand's personality, how you work with others. And so showing behind the scene content can be a great thing. Now, obviously, you don't want to put out too deep, dark secrets on how you do your stuff, but just really step backing and being a bit more casual, really. Some people really love having a company be a little bit more casual and down to earth because then they're more relatable. So you'd want to find the right balance for your company there. Also, with social, is there something visual you can show on social that's hard to show on a website? So sometimes, let's say you might be able to create a video of a product. Well, maybe that product updates and changes regularly, or you just want to create a bit more awareness behind the product with video. You can post video on these social platforms and really engage your consumers, especially if you're really engaging behind the camera or have a spokesperson for you that is, and you can really show off all the features of the product and maybe ask some great questions on video too. Consumers love to talk about themselves on social. So whenever you're creating your posts too and your videos, ask them about them. Ask them what they like, what they don't like, especially as it relates to your business and products and services. Also on social, how can you educate your consumers on your products and your services? So what might they not be able to understand or convey without having maybe a live video or an Instagram reel where you've got these little short videos, or maybe some slideshow of several different images as well. So let's go back to the running shoes example. So if you sell running shoes, what would you need to educate your consumers on to help them realize that your shoes are what they need? So think about their pain points. What do they run into whenever they're running? And that was totally not on purpose. But what do they run into when they're running? I mean, obviously some people in some areas are going to be running over rough terrain, up hills, down hills. It could be an area that you're targeting that's all flat. What kind of shoes do they need if they're running in an all flat area? What about hills like we have here in Ohio where I am? Here you can be running flat and the next minute you're climbing a steep hill that feels like a mountain. So what do they need to know behind your shoes to realize that, oh, that's the perfect shoe for me. That's going to help me relieve this kind of pain in my foot or my shin or my ankle or my leg. So really use it to educate, and especially if you do it in an educational way without doing a hard sell, that can really help boost your social reach. because they'll want to share it with their friends and family. Be like, hey, did you see this running shoe can help you when you need to be running on hills and not give you shin splints? Think of things like that. Okay, so one of our main goals, though, for social media is, even though it's a great platform, we are borrowing those audiences. They're not ours. They're not in our realm. We can't reach out to any one specific person at any particular point in time that we want. So one of our main goals is we want to not only entertain and educate them and engage with them on social, but then we need to bring them into our circle, bring them closer to us. And we can do that via bringing them to our website, via blog posts. We can do that via bringing them to our website and encourage them to sign up for our newsletter. And we'll be talking about email marketing and newsletters in a later podcast episode. But that is definitely one of the things you want to do, is to bring them closer into your circle. Once you've really engaged and interacted with them, find ways to bring them into your circle. And again, why? Well, social media posts generally live for about 30 minutes. And then they get shuffled down into the bottom of a feed. So you need to make sure you're top of mind. And one way to do that is bring them into your circle. Okay, so how do we optimize to make sure that our content is being seen on social media? How do we really boost our posts so that they're not just seen by 2 or 3 people, but they're seen by many people? Now, one of the things you need to keep in mind is, which platform are you on? For example, Facebook has many different ways we can share with it, as we mentioned earlier. We can do text-only posts, we can do image posts, we can do short videos, we can do long videos, we can do links off to our own website. What I recommend, we can do live videos too. What I recommend is you need to be mixing up the types of content, especially on Facebook. They have provided all those different ways for you to interact with their platform, and they honestly kind of expect you to interact in more than one way. So if you're not seeing a great engagement rate on Facebook, but you're only posting images or links back to your website, try a video. Try a live video if you dare. Really, you shouldn't be afraid to do live video. It's really personal. It really helps consumers see you and your personality. And Facebook will reward you for doing these things like live videos and just videos in general. And another tip too is, you're going to want to be interacting on that platform ideally for about 15-ish minutes before your post that you think is really important goes up. Whether you've scheduled it or you're putting it up yourself, they want you to not only post on their platform, but they want you to use their platform as a normal consumer would. So when you're out there when you're out there interacting with other people and other businesses on their platform, that's going to show them that you're engaged with their platform, and they'll show your posts more. And we can also take this to the other platforms as well. So Instagram, I would recommend you spend a little bit of time and like and comment. You don't want to just be liking. All these platforms see that as the easy way. So you want to make sure you're actually doing a little bit more in-depth interaction, like commenting on things as well. And you're going to want to do that for a little bit right before an important post goes live. Now, I know that seems like it could be a lot of time, and you don't have to do that every single post, but I do recommend you do sprinkle those in. And then another example would be YouTube. So YouTube is, yes, it's a video platform, but they have several different ways you can do video. You can do uploaded, recorded video, you can do short form video, and you can also do live streaming to YouTube. So with YouTube, I would recommend mixing it up if you can. That's obviously several different ways to do the same thing, which is basically video. But when you're mixing it up and interacting and watching video yourself, then that's also going to help them see that you're engaged and interested in their platform too. Another way to increase your reach with social is to use appropriate hashtags. So think about what you are working on and writing on that social platform. Think about what keywords somebody might search to find your information, and use those as hashtags. So I'll pick an example that we might be doing. So maybe we're talking about search engine optimization. So we might want to use some hashtags that have the letters SEO in it, or spelling out the word search engine optimization, so that it's easier to find for people who are looking for information on SEO. So think about that when you're creating your posts too for your social platforms. Another thing you can do too is collaborating with other business owners on these platforms as well. We're not all in this in little silos. We're in it together, and many of us can collaborate and work with each other. I know in our company, we have had many partners over the years that we've worked with for long periods of time and really helped to boost and help each other out. And I feel like most companies out there can do that as well, because you may complement a company, down the street or virtually down the street on the internet, and you guys can work together and collaborate and share ideas with each other, and maybe even guest post on the other one's page too. So that's just kind of another different way that you could get out there on social. And then lastly, something that's really fun that we haven't tried yet here at BCS Engineering, but I know a lot of people absolutely love this, is running contests and giveaways. Most consumers absolutely love a great giveaway, especially if they're going to get something free, even if it's just like a small gift card in the mail or a special branded mug. They love to do giveaways. People love to be in competition, honestly, and they just love it. And giveaways can be a great way to do it. It can be a great way to give out a sample of your product as well. So maybe you sell health fitness protein powders or something. You could do a giveaway and give somebody a sample of your product. What a great way to help somebody try it out without buying it and making sure that they like it. So giveaways would be my last point on how to really increase social media engagement. All right, so let's recap here. So we talked about why you'd want to use social media marketing in your business. And again, make sure it does not consume you. Set a time limit. We didn't go over this too much, but really we need to set a time limit for it to make sure that we're not making it run us over. Also, we talked about social media goals, and we talked about the different platforms and some of their features as well with it. And we also talked about how we can optimize our content for those platforms and make them more visible and more useful to the consumers. And we talked about the final and main goal of social media marketing is to getting them back down into your circle, whether it's bringing them to your website, getting them on your newsletter, somehow that you can work and interact with that consumer off of social media. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of E-Commerce Made Easy Podcast. I hope you will visit us on our website at ecommercemadeeasypodcast.com, where you can find show notes for this episode, especially if you're out on a run or listening to this while you are working out or not via computer. You can find a recap of our show notes on our website. And be sure and share this with a friend. We would totally appreciate it if you'd share this with a friend who you feel like our podcast would help them out. And drop us a review on your favorite podcast platform. We would greatly appreciate it, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.